Hi, how's it going? Hello everyone. Different sort of video today. This isn't a review, it's not a product test or a product endorsement or anything like that. I just want to highlight something that I don't think gets enough attention. It wasn't that long ago that a flagship smartphone was one of no compromises. Sure, you could spend less and get fewer features, but if you bought a company's top of the line, it would be loaded with all of the features that were available at the time. I understand that it's a waste to put features into a phone that nobody will use. But high-end smartphones have only been getting more expensive lately, so you would think that they would also be getting more and more capable over time, not less. I'm one of those oddballs who still likes to use wired headphones once in a while, not to mention the ability to connect a phone to various devices through a standard 3.5mm stereo cable. I was, and I am still annoyed that companies have dropped the headphone jack. In fact, Samsung even criticized Apple for removing the headphone jack before doing the same thing themselves not long after. But the headphone jack is just one of many features we've lost over time, with various excuses given, none of which seem to ring very true when you consider the price and size of modern flagship smartphones. I really like Samsung phones. I mean, obviously. I've used them for a long time, but I've been annoyed about all the features they've stripped down over the years. My first Galaxy phone, this Galaxy S5, had a removable battery. I mean, come on, how awesome is that? But it also had a headphone jack, a memory card slot, an IR blaster, and a notification LED. It was thin, durable, and water resistant. Sure, it had a plastic back, which has been replaced with this cover on mine, and, plastic sides and stuff like that, but it was tough and it could take a beating without bending or shattering. It was also easy and comfortable to hold. It wasn't like most newer phones where you have to use a case if you don't want it to be like holding a greased icicle. I'm not entirely sure what people have against plastic phones. We spend extra to get a more fragile phone because it looks a little fancier and then cover it with $9 worth of plastic to protect it. But that's a whole nother rant. Eventually, Samsung began removing those features. The latest Samsung phones, even their largest top-of-the-line, most expensive Galaxy Ultra phones, no longer have even a headphone jack. They also don't have a memory card slot anymore. Despite that, I was still tempted to go Samsung this time around, but I decided to vote with my wallet, as they say, because I do value the features that Samsung has removed over the years. Not to mention Samsung's attempt to block all but their own AMOLED screens from entering the US on the off chance that a screen made by anyone but Samsung might violate one of Samsung's patents. But that's another thing for another day. This is the Sony Xperia 1 4. Granted, it doesn't have a removable battery, which is apparently just something we're not likely to get back anytime soon, and it's a slab of metal and glass that's surely fragile. But otherwise, it ticks a lot of boxes. It has all the flagship features you'd expect from most brands these days, like two-way wireless charging with power sharing, large internal storage, fast processor, multiple cameras, 4K AMOLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate, 5G with millimeter wave bands, and more. But it also has a 3.5mm headphone jack, while still having excellent water and dust resistance ratings. And it has an SD card slot with toolless access. It also has a notification LED, and it has actual bezels, top and bottom. But aren't bezels a bad thing, you ask? Well, not in my opinion. If you actually intend to hold the phone while you use it, bezels allow for easier holding and use of the phone without touching or interfering with the screen. Obviously, that's less of a concern with a case like this, but still. Plus, the top and bottom bezels allow for all of the typical flagship features without a notch in the screen, including a notification LED. Granted, even on sale, the Xperia 1 4 is very expensive, but so are most high-end phones these days, and this is one of the very few to still offer these features. Plus, the headphone jack, memory card slot, and notification LED are all present on the less expensive Xperia 5 4 as well. So you don't actually have to buy the flagship to get those features. Sony's phones may or may not represent a good value for you, but it's just nice to see a lineup of phones from a major manufacturer that include a lot of the features that most brands have decided to remove. This video isn't meant to talk you into getting any particular phone. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who genuinely don't care about any of those features anymore. I almost believe the manufacturers when they say that they're just following market trends. It certainly was a coincidence that the manufacturers just happened to start selling wireless earbuds costing hundreds of dollars right around the time they removed the headphone jack. And companies are not trying to drive people to subscription-based data mining cloud solutions or influence people to spend more on higher storage options when they started removing the SD cards. Certainly not. Whatever the reason for removing them, I am one user who does want those features. Sure, the Xperia line has a unique camera philosophy that bucks the trend of the heavily processed photos that most other smartphones have, and they have a unique display aspect ratio, and some of them can even be used as an external monitor for some of Sony's higher-end cameras. Those are unique features, and they tend to get the headlines. But I just wanted to shine a bit more light on the memory card slot and headphone jack, which are, sadly, also fairly unique features in a smartphone these days. So that's it for today. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.